Let's begin with the third section of our lecture, bladder and renal cell carcinoma. So far we are talking on the bladder carcinoma, and we already talked about the epidemiology, pathology and pathogenesis of the bladder cancer. And then in the previous section we talked about the signs and symptoms, how the patient with bladder cancer present and how we can stage the bladder cancer. So next, let's move on to treatment of the bladder cancer. In this, the treatment will be based on whether it's a non-muscle invasive type of carcinoma, if it didn't invade the muscles of the bladder yet, or if it already invaded the muscles. So the treatment options will be different with the non-invasive and then invasive type of the bladder cancer, and the landmark is the muscle invasion. And then we will discuss also the treatment of the metastatic bladder cancer and also the chemotherapy used for the bladder cancer. So the treatment, again, management of the bladder cancer depends on the tumor invasion into muscle. So in the beginning I said the landmark is the muscle invasion. So the treatment will be different if it invades the muscle or if it didn't invade the muscles. And then also lymph node invasion is very, very important. We know that the staging of the cancers also depends on the involvement of lymph nodes or whether the lymph nodes are involved or not. Here again you can see the different size tumors. We have the small carcinoma of the bladder getting little bigger, and then it involves the inner muscle layer and then the outer muscle layer, and then finally it reached in stage T4 to the different organs of the body. And since prostate in male is the very close to the bladder, so it can commonly spread to the bladder. This is another picture showing the bladder carcinoma. So management depends mainly on muscle invasion and then how is the spread to the regional lymph node is present or not, or it's beyond that. Probability of spread increases with increasing the T stage. The T stands for tumor size, and then the N is for the node and M is for the metastasis. So in T and M staging of the tumor, it's very important. T is an important factor which tells us how big is the size of the tumor and whether it invades the penetrate deeper into the organ, invades the muscular layer or not. Non-muscle invasive disease. Non-muscle invasive disease, there is complete endoscopic resection. Now the treatment options will be different, whether it's muscle invasive or non-muscle invasive. If it's non-muscle invasive, we can do complete endoscopic resection can be done. With or without intravesical therapy. So we can do complete endoscopic resection of the tumor cancer, and maybe we need intravesical therapy. Intravesical is inside the urinary bladder. We need it, or maybe we don't need the therapy for that. It depends on histologic subtype, number of lesions, depth of invasion, presence or absence of carcinoma in situ, and any antecedent history or history that is present before of any abnormalities. So non-invasive muscle disease is treated by the resection maybe we not intravesical treatment or we do not require it because it depends on the some factors, histological subtype, what are the cells present on histology, whether it's differentiated, not well, all that. How much lesions were present, how deep they were invaded, and the presence or absence of carcinoma in situ and antecedent history. All these are very, very important factor in the assessment of the treatment. Then also the solitary papillary lesions, if present, they are treated by transureteral surgery through the urethra. Carcinoma in situ and recurrent disease is treated by transurethral surgery followed by intravesical therapy. So in this case, when carcinoma in situ is present and then there is recurrent history of the disease, then we need intravesical therapy. Here, this is the cystoscope and this is the bladder and then the fluid tube and the urethra. Intravesical therapies which are used, we have prostatic urethral tumor, we can use cystoprostatectomy. So prostatic urethral tumors, if they are present, cystoprostatectomy is done in which both the bladder and the prostate is removed. Then we also need intravesical therapies which after the transurethral surgery, if the disease is recurrent and if there is carcinoma in situ present. Resection or installation through renal pelvis. Mitomycin C, interferon, and gemcitabine. All these are different medicines that can be used. Now next is the muscle invasive disease. If the cancer already invade the muscle layer of the bladder, the treatment will be different. In this now we need radical or partial cystectomy. We need to remove the urinary bladder because the muscle layer is invaded now and we cannot leave the disease that is deep enough that it can metastasize to the distant area. So now we need radical or partial cystectomy. Bladder sparing approach can also be used. Complete endoscopic resection is another method. Combination of drugs, combination of resection, systemic chemotherapy and beam radiation, that's the normal approach in most of the cancers, that the surgery is performed and then we can give the chemotherapy and radiation therapy to regress the tumor if it's present and to prevent the recurrence. So all that is also used in the bladder cancer. Drainage by intermittent catheterization. Next, treatment options. Radical cystectomy, removal of bladder and pelvic lymph nodes, creation of conduit for urinary flow from detubularized bowel or orthotopic neobladder, frozen section evaluation, chemotherapy which can prolong the survival combined with radical cystectomy or radiation therapy and can be pre-surgical or post-surgical. So if the radical cystectomy is done when the bladder is removed, we need some outflow for the urine. So in that case, the artificial conduit is made for the urinary flow, and that can be from detubularized bowel or orthotopic neobladder is constructed. So frozen section evaluation is performed, and same the chemotherapy is again used mainly for prolonging the survival of the patient, and then it is used as a pre-surgical treatment option and sometimes after the surgery. So these are two different treatment options used. In males, radical cystectomy is included removal of prostate, seminal vesicles, and proximal urethra. In females, there is removal of bladder, urethra, uterus, fallopian tubes, ovaries, anterior vaginal wall, and fascia. So all these are the structures removed in radical surgeries. The aim is to remove the cancer completely, so the local areas, surrounding areas should be removed to prevent the spread. Contraindications are the renal insufficiency, if present. Inability to self-catheterize is another contraindication for radical therapies. Carcinoma in situ and exophytic tumor in urethra. Concurrent ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease. These are some contraindications. Survival following surgery for the bladder cancer usually again depends on the staging of the tumor. So we have in T2NO, no node involvement, and then the stage is T2. The 5-year survival is 89%, and then 10-year survival is 87%. So it's very, very high survival rate if it's T2 and NO. So it keeps on increasing with the staging. T3A and O 78, 5 years, 76, 2 years different mostly. T3B and O 62 years and 62% and 61%, 89%, 87%, 78%, 76%, T4 and O 50% and 45%, and then any T doesn't matter, but now the disease is metastasized to the lymph node, then you can see the survival decrease to about 35% and 34%. So node metastasis, even if it's N1, is very, very significant in the prediction of the survival rate or the prognosis of the bladder cancer. Metastatic disease, palliative care is required if the disease is already metastasized. Usually palliative treatment is required to make the survival of the patient comfortable. And then we can also do the chemotherapy alone and combined modality approach. Karnofsky performance status, KPS, is very important prognostic factor, and this performance status is how the patient is performing and how is the tumor and what stage, how in way. So these are different. Is the patient performance status is important prognostic factor that tells the prognosis of the bladder cancer. Pattern of spread again, nodal, visceral, if it's spread to the nodes, if it's spread to the different viscera or the organs. Low KPS, low performance status, usually rarely long-term survival. So if the performance status is poor, KPS is poor, then the survival is not very long. Chemotherapy that is used, we have drugs having activity as single agents. Some drugs are used as a single drug, which includes cisplatin, paclitaxel, and gemcitabine. And then we have drug combination, MVAC, GC, GPC, and here MVAC is methotrexate, vinblastine, doxorubicin, and cisplatin. All these are the combination drugs that can be used for bladder cancer. Was once a standard, MVAC was a standard drug or combination therapy for the bladder cancer. Issues like neutropenia, fever, mucositis, these occur as a result of MVAC that can lead to the restricted use of this combination therapy. GC is gemcitabine and cisplatin, more common now and causes anemia and thrombocytopenia. GPC is gemcitabine, paclitaxel, and cisplatin, not more effective than GC. So all the chemotherapeutic drugs that are used for the treatment of the cancer, they have side effects. Some have little more, some little less, but no drug is without the side effects. MVAC has more, so it's little restricted now use, but the GC is most commonly used for the treatment of the bladder cancer. But again, it can also cause anemia and thrombocytopenia, which have its own complications. Next, preoperative chemotherapy before the surgery, when medically appropriate. There is also adjuvant chemotherapy is also indicated along with other treatment options like surgery and radiotherapy. Nodal disease, extravesical tumor extension, vascular invasion in specimen. In all these conditions, the adjuvant chemotherapy is indicated. Management of bladder cancer. Again, it depends on the nature of lesion and then different management approaches are used. Non-muscle invasive disease, we do the endoscopic removal, usually with intravesical therapy. Muscle invasive disease, cystectomy along with systemic chemotherapy before or after surgery. Metastatic disease, cystectomy, and then we also use chemotherapy before or after surgery. So these are the different management options for the bladder cancer. Again, depend on whether the muscle is invaded, muscle is not invaded, or if it already metastasized. The surgery or management options are different, and if it's not invaded the muscles, then we have endoscopic removal is done. In both other conditions, cystectomy is performed. So that was all about the section 3, and that concludes our topic of bladder cancer. And then we discussed in detail about the presentations, diagnosis, management, and the staging. What are the different steps that can lead to the staging of the bladder cancer, and how is the survival rate and prognosis of the different stages of the bladder cancer. Thank you for watching sqadia.com.